do that again tonight. We'll be able to, there we go. We can see our neighbors again, and we can see the 12-hour forecast is showing 70 degrees as we head toward 8, 9 o'clock, and it's going to be good to get out there and walk the dogs. And in fact, we take a look at the overall picture here. Get used to it. This is the headliner weather pick of the month. We've got a forecast high of 82. Average high should be at 81. We take a look at the big story. Of course, I've got the pink on. I've got the bow tie going because we are wearing pink here downtown. And what we had, of course, is making strides for breast cancer. We had the big walk this morning. So it's not just about the pumpkin patches. It's about making a difference in the community. And I tell you, free beer and brats now as we head through the afternoon, because we've got a big thing happening out at San Marcos Square, 5 p.m. One of the nice, gorgeous spots just to take in, especially on a Saturday afternoon. We have so many great places to see and to go enjoy around town. Just a gorgeous place we live here on the First Coast. So get out there, and we do have a lot of fun, a runner delight, temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. As we look at the rest of our weekend, well, latest models are in. This is why we do our streaming show. So what's changed? Well, we got a little bit of a better chance of rain, it looks like, across the Gulf Coast. There could be maybe still a leftover thunderstorm or two toward Pensacola as we wake up in the morning. So, I mean, I'll look at it with you. I'll track it with you tomorrow on Good Morning Jacksonville. But as it moves to the east, things will quickly die out. I've got, what is that, a little sliver of rain toward Waycross. Lake City, you may see the best chance of rain to your west, maybe holding together as a shower on the west side of town, but it could be one of those events where the west side of town gets the rain and the east side just stays totally dry. And then Gainesville, of course, the farther south, maybe a little more moisture to work with, but again, this is a very light rain, so I'm calling for an isolated shower. Much warmer Sunday, 87 degrees, but that 87 again doesn't come with a big heat index, or what we call the feels like temperature in the shade. So we're not worried about the heat. We're not worried about the humidity at this point on Sunday, just a lone shower. So good to see you. And you can see my pink now and my bow tie. I want to thank Katrina for getting me on there. As we take a look at the forecast rainfall, let's see if anything's changed. I did see something coming in the last hour. There it is. Okay, I wanted to share this. St. Mary's, we're saying the showers will be lucky even to make it to Waycross. One of the models said, yeah, maybe a shower will hang in there and give St. Mary's a quick shower. So you see maybe a spot of 1/10 of an inch of rain or more, but again, yeah, I'm not seeing it. Where you see the blue on the screen to the west of I-75, I think I would focus more on that based on the trends. So again, if you're traveling along I-10 west of I-75, that would be our best chance of rain tomorrow. Now, we got the forecast on board, right? We got the forecast down. We know it's going to be a beautiful weekend, but what do we talk about this time of year? There it is, the tropics. So this is good. This is why we do the show, and I'm checking all the latest data literally with you. We have 43 days left of hurricane season, and I'm just checking the latest here, latest models, and here's what I'm seeing from the National Hurricane Center. So of course, we have the updates that come in every day, and at this point, the news this morning, I feel, has gotten even better. Okay, so climatology. Let's just start with why we watch things so carefully all the way through October. Really, it seems like September and October are our two peak months here in Florida. We know how it is. We remember Wilma. We remember Wilma that came through late October in South Florida a few years back. We remember Milton last year. I went through that when I was in Tampa, and glad to be home. My goodness. And you see what happens. You see it kind of comes from the Caribbean. You see the big orange area that kind of extends down to the south. Those are where the warmest water temperatures are in the Atlantic Basin usually. So when I say climatologically, think of that as on average, where we see low pressures that tend to form, okay? And it would be to the south. And what happens is they're drawn up by these fronts this time of year. So once we, the first half of October, we really, we can get hit pretty hard, as we've seen here in North Florida, up and down the East Coast, all right, with these storms that come from the Caribbean. Once we get past October 15th, here we are on the 18th, really it's South Florida that I watch very closely. Cuba, the Bahamas, a little farther south, because the fronts and the jet stream are much farther south. So that pushes all of that activity farther to the south too. So all of that wind and the jet stream energy, that tends to block activity from coming too far to the north. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule. Remember a November storm that came barreling in toward Daytona with Nicole a couple years back. So I'm just talking climatology on average, all right? So, and we know to check back every day. So here's the latest from the Climate Prediction Center. So We show you 7 days ahead. Here's 2 to 3 weeks. Boy, this is 7 to 10 days ahead. You still see the red area. This is no surprise. This is not cause for alarm or losing sleep. This is just not a big surprise when you have a red area down there this time of year. In fact, here's the good news I was talking about this morning. As we come back, the latest, we've got 30% chance of development on that tropical wave right in the open Atlantic. And you see that big yellow box there. It's what I call a hatchling, or hatched area. So there could be that tropical wave, if it gets its act together, it could develop anywhere in that yellow area. And then you've got the swirling dervish up in the North Atlantic. It looks like a low pressure, a 10% chance. I'm not concerned about that. But if we do get that tropical wave really come together and try to get its act together, we would call that Melissa. But I'm not seeing it right now. Okay, so we talked about these fronts that are coming one after another, giving us this dry pattern here in Jacksonville and much of Florida. It's acting like a wall. Anything that develops down there is not coming this way, not at least for North Florida. Okay, so that's the good news this morning. I am really highly confident in this pattern holding as we head into the last 2 weeks. And then as we look at the euro, this is my go-to. We got to love King Euro. We're looking for calm areas in the tropics, not all these forecast winds where you see the yellows and the greens and the bright blues. That's not favorable for development. Okay, that would tend to tear apart any tropical waves that try to get its act together. Now, with that said, if you are going to get a developing system, it would have to be south of where you see all those bright colors. So that would be down towards Central America. Usually we don't get storms that far south, but if you see it, look closely, there's like a little low pressure there off Belize. Boy, is that Nicaragua, Panama? I mean, that's really far to the south. Okay, that's good news. So as we look at the Euro model, what you're looking at on this screen, as we point out the colors, would be the greens, are trying to find some areas of low pressure. You see a little spot down toward Panama. Okay, that's next Thursday, October 23rd. Let's watch it. Yeah, maybe a little low pressure heading towards Central America, but that's it. This is next weekend. So you see the only big low pressure, the biggest low pressure I can find on the map would be out toward England. So I'd be calling my daughter and son-in-law saying, hey, be ready for some more rain. But that low pressure, I'm not seeing any deep low pressures on the map all the way through next weekend, and you gotta love it. So, and we know things will change, and this map tomorrow could very well show, we got the biggest low pressure now forming over those warm waters. So that's tropical weather for you, okay? And that's why we check back every day. But right now, the trend is our friend, and hopefully it will continue. Now, we compare models as meteorologists. We look for agreement. We want these models to agree, gives the forecaster higher confidence. I like leaving notes for my weather team. I'll leave a note for Lou or Lee, okay? And we talk back and forth a lot. And you see on the American model, the GFS, a little different than the European. Is there agreement? I guess. I mean, a little bit of agreement. You see little circles, maybe a low pressure trying to develop, but that's, again, the far southern Caribbean, maybe toward Cuba. But the GFS, the one thing I'm getting out of this model, I'm not looking, I'm not seeing much agreement. I'm thinking that it's really showing that anything that develops will be very slow. So as we bring it back home, let's get back to our picture-perfect pickleball forecast. It's a win-win in the tropics and here at home. We've got that comfy weather, temperature of 79 degrees as we head toward the afternoon. I still think we will hit highs into the lower 80s. So as I connect back here on the computer with you, we're very excited here to spread the good news. Now, something to stay tuned for, though, and we're going to go here for about a half hour. So maybe grab a sandwich at the fridge. Actually, we can keep going. I don't want to stop talking. I have so much I want to get to. Let's keep going. If the computer, there we go. All right. So this is what I wanted to share with you. The fall delight pattern, okay, that we've had, and I call it a fall delight. I'd rather have this in some drought conditions than a tropical storm any day. This fall delight pattern will continue for the next 10 to 14 days. That's the big story. There will be some drought conditions expanding to the east. Will it last all winter? No, I don't see that, not at all. And then there's that weak front Sunday with limited rain chances. So let's scroll through this forecast here a little bit more. I want to get to this weekend weather story. So you're spending time with me. I want to make sure you can get the forecast and get out the door and enjoy some of this delightful weather. So St. Louis, Memphis, Arkansas, you're going to hear about storms, maybe a tornado or two, can't rule that out, but right now not looking for a severe weather outbreak. And then what's happening here? Why is it so dry? It's been one big ridge of high pressure after another behind these fronts. So these cold fronts, there's all kinds of different storms, cyclones, hurricanes, tropical storms. They all have their own different personalities. And these fronts that are coming through lately, they've just been moisture starved. They're not really picking up much moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. So again, we're looking at the personality of this high pressure versus that cold front. And you know who's going to win that battle? It's our high pressure. Okay, so you have a lot of sinking air in place, and what it's doing is it's really anchoring this dry pattern. Okay, so that's why this morning the breaking weather would be this pattern. I feel will hold all the way through the end of the month. All right, through Halloween, and then maybe first week of November we'll see changes, because this pattern of one front after another that continues to bring these dry air masses is continuing. And you saw the rain once it got to Atlanta later tomorrow morning. It really dries up, even though we're talking storms in Missouri, weekends by the time it gets to Georgia. And then I guess we can pick out a little green, maybe an isolated shower here at home tomorrow evening, Duval, Clay County. But I'm watering my plants, and so should you. All right, parched plants out there and some crunchy grass. So, you know, a pattern that's good for our plans, good for our mindset with no tropical systems near us, nor any expected, but bad for our lawns and gardens for sure. So just keep that in mind. Let's keep them going. Weekend story into Monday. I'll wake up with you with a Prangley motivation with another 10 out of 10. I mean, this is the pattern, okay? And then for our Jaguar watch party, oh yeah, I've been checking the weather in London here. I've got family over there. Just beautiful here at home. But the total opposite for our Jaguars, it could be a washout. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to watch that game. We'll talk more about that. But you can see the kickoff, 9:30 a.m. A lot of neighbors like taking the TVs outside. They do a little block party. Yeah, tomorrow would be the time to do it. You see that rain later question mark? Yeah, that's a big question mark, all right. Maybe an isolated shower, but we're not worried about rain as we know tomorrow. We take a look at that 7-day forecast. There's the low rain chances, and 82 to 87. So tomorrow, make sure you have the sunscreen. We got that beach forecast coming right up here. And then as we go through next week, all right, so we're saying there's one front after another that's anchoring this pattern. Well, we got that first front coming Sunday night. Then we've got a second front coming. Notice we warm up briefly Tuesday. That southwest wind, that's telling us we have a second front coming. That second front will bring even drier weather, like the driest weather we've seen of the season. Not that we're not dry enough already, right? So expect more sunshine, and it's going to be a crisp air mass. I have the first 40s in the forecast possible by late next week. So 49, Jacksonville High of 79, and we'll just keep this coming. But we'll take a very, let's see. Yeah, you know how I am. I would rather just talk to you instead of taking breaks. Most folks take commercials. We're gonna just see what I can do. I'm gonna go straight into that beach forecast if I can. So I'm gonna get out of here. This is live TV for you. I'm gonna scroll in. I've got like 16 timelines. I'm not gonna take your whole day up because I'm gonna be outside with you here shortly. So don't worry. I'm almost done. We have another 10 minutes. I think I need to help my wife with some yard work, and I think she's laughing right now if she's watching this. I will help. I like cleaning. I like cleaning. I'll be helping to clean the house, doing the honey-do list, and we got some errands to run. Okay, so we know as I scroll through all 16 of these timelines, we'll get down. It's going to take time for the computer to catch up. If you're at home, just feast your eyes on this beautiful 7-day forecast. And, this is the pattern that we've all been waiting for and asking for weeks. We've had one nor'easter after another. So I had to go back 5 weeks, count them, to find weather this nice. And it's been something. It's been a great pattern here for all of us to enjoy for sure. We are looking at the long-range forecast here, and I said the thing I looked at this morning, I'm always looking ahead. I'm looking for change in the troughs, the ridges, where they're setting up in the atmosphere, and I'm not seeing that a change until at least November. So just to let you know, we're almost to our next timeline. I'm just scrolling through 16. Here we go. All right. Katrina's given us 10 more minutes. All right, so I'm going to get you outside soon. If you can hang in there for 10 more minutes, I appreciate you. Oh, I love you, John. I'm glad you're with me here. So let's look out toward Jacksonville Beach. The reason you want to stay with me is because we're getting some weather at the beach we haven't seen in a long time. And look at that. We got sunshine. We got the beach umbrellas out. and just folks enjoying the walk along the beach. If you look at the water, still some rough surf at 3 to 5 feet, so be careful. There will be a high or elevated rip current risk out there, but that's a live temperature you're looking at, 76 degrees, a dew point of 63. And that reminds me, yeah, we're all about making a difference in this community, and we've got that. We can do that today with the Buddy Walk, the Down Syndrome Association of Jacksonville. That kicks off officially this morning, but notice it goes through 2 o'clock, so you can still get out there and make a difference and go show your support with temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. But look at that nice sunshine, that nice lighter east wind really doing its thing. You will need the sunscreen going out to the beach. We've got that UV index of 7, which is in the high range. We take a look at the beach high temperatures. Again, I was showing that pattern. We're looking ahead together, right? We know what's happening now. I want you to know what's going on. And I'm not seeing big changes or fluctuations in the beautiful beach weather, 75 to 80 every day. Next week, talk about consistency, mid-70s, mid-70s. It comes in behind that second front. There's a couple days that go up a bit. That's ahead of the sign that we're going to have those fronts that tend to bring the beautiful sunshine our way. It's just a sign that we're going to continue to keep this pattern going. So enjoy. So we're counting down to Halloween. We've got 13 days. The Pringles have got the big candies ready to hand out in the driveway. I've got them ready. And, you know, I think I'm leaning more toward a beautiful Halloween based on the patterns, right? Some Halloweens are too warm for the kids in those costumes. Some are a little chilly. Some are rainy. Not seeing that right now, okay? And then, of course, daylight saving time. I'm looking forward to my extra hour of sleep as we fall back. That is going to be 2 weeks from tomorrow, 15 days. And then, of course, Thanksgiving. Oh, my gosh, 40 days away. So fishing forecasts, something we haven't shown much of in our weathercast, right? Fishing, great fishing weather this weekend as well, especially on the intercoastal. So I want to thank Jeremy Alvarez. I call him Doctor sometimes, Captain Alvarez to be official. The Bulls are running. Jeremy's got his boat fired up. He said the folks are catching the big redfish out there, and the mahi are also biting. So a big difference maker here is the wind is much lighter out of the east today. Okay, you'll see a little wind shift if you're fishing tomorrow, more to the south-southwest, but still not bad. I still think we've got some great fishing both today and tomorrow, and then you see the winds coming back out of the northeast next week. So the good news is I do see better news for our high tides. We've had these coastal flood advisories for so long, but with the front coming in the wind shift tomorrow, that'll allow some of the water to escape. So maybe we can lift these advisories for those tides running 1 to 2 feet above average, especially south of downtown. So we'll keep an eye on that. But be careful of those rip currents. You saw that blue area on the screen. First coast fishing, yes, let it go. Right? We got the redfish, the mahi offshore, seas 2 to 4 feet, just a light chop, ocean temperature 76, and we got that low tide coming in about an hour and a half. And as we continue to play this through, those are fair weather clouds you're seeing on there on the left side. All right, so Saturday through there. And as we come through our high temperatures, let's go to your neighborhood, and we're loving what we're seeing. Okay, we got 81 in Thalman and Ahunta. We got Folkston at 82. So temperatures about where they should be this time of year. The big difference is our humidity's much lower than it typically is. I mean, it's just unbelievably dry out there. So at St. Simon's 78, enjoy your beautiful day, water the plants. Nocatee to Volano Beach, we got temperatures mid to upper 70s. So good to hear that Volano Beach doesn't have big chunks of sand being thrown around or big shelves on the beach like we saw last week. Just better news there with the lighter wind. World Golf Village looking good if you're heading to Buc-ee's for a sandwich. All right, 78. We got E-Town at 79, and then out toward areas of Middleburg and Camp Blanding. This one's for you. You've been waiting too long for this. Out toward Gainesville. A lot of folks are traveling, so if you're traveling toward Gainesville, we got the homecoming today against Ole Miss, and it's looking like great football weather. Okay, there are a lot of good football games on, so hopefully you get a chance to get outside and maybe watch some football as well. Overall, as we look at the big picture, speaking of football, don't want to leave out the dogs. All right, the dogs will be here in a couple weeks. We were talking about that last night at the dinner table. We're trying to set up a tent, getting our tent set up by the stadium. The good news is, First Coast News, we got some good parking. That's going to be an issue probably. So I've got a little parking here, and then we're going to just have a great day. That's still 2 weeks down the road. And again, based on what I'm seeing with the pattern, I would favor more of this type of weather even for the Florida-Georgia game. But for today, the Gators, they host Mississippi State. I think it's going to be close. All right, temperature of 80, but not close when it comes to, the weather being awesome versus, stormy. Okay, the awesome wins it. It's a rout. It's a big win. All right, and as we take a look at the Athens forecast for Georgia. All right, folks may be heading up to Mercier Farms, doing a little fall leaf looking and maybe bringing some apples home. Maybe doing that before the game, looking good. Temperatures into the middle to upper 70s as Ole Miss visits Georgia. So as we look at the forecast planner, we got the weather pick again today. This evening for those plans overnight tonight, this evening will be around 70. Overnight tonight, low of 62. So a little warmer with that light southeast wind. And then tomorrow, much warmer with just a late day shower. But as we look at that rain chance here, we only have a few minutes. I just want to make sure you know there will be at least some isolated showers around by late tomorrow. But as we hone in on the highest risk, the only change I'd make to that map would be probably to extend that green a little closer to Gainesville. So really western Alachua, Columbia, out toward Waycross, that would still be the area that could see the isolated activity. But you notice it just shrivels up farther east. This is some of the new Futurecast data, and so this is new. So nothing changing on our beautiful temperatures today. And then tonight, I said it would be a nice evening, and there it is. Jacksonville 73, 71 in Brunswick, enjoying the beautiful skies. Tomorrow, maybe a little patchy fog as we got the dew points rising slightly ahead of the front. So we'll track that mid to upper 60s. And then tomorrow afternoon, see how low the rain chance is, though. We got 20% Jacksonville, Brunswick, Waycross, a little higher maybe, but you can see there's a shower on the map, southern Clinch County. Toward the Gulf Coast, that's normal. You can still get a flare-up of an isolated storm or two, but it weakens quickly once it hits the west coast of Florida, and you'll see that as it moves through Gainesville tomorrow. And then late tomorrow night, I think that would be the best chance of rain if you're in Duval and areas a little farther to the south. And there it is. There's our nice weather pattern right back at you as we head into next week. 7-day forecast. All right, well, we got a thing of beauty. So if you're just joining us here, we're streaming here for another few minutes. I've just been enjoying spreading the sunshine. I mean, this is what it's about. And we got temperatures, again, you can't really ask for much more. Nothing too hot, nothing too cool, right in the middle. So we got a couple more minutes here. I'll try to, we can come back. I want to do like the picture of the week. I always like these. The viewers, you mean everything. You're my show. All right. I came back to Jacksonville for you. I mean, this is a tight-knit community. We got a loyal following. And if you have not been to our First Coast News Weather Watcher page on Facebook, that's the place to go. I like checking out your pictures. We like talking weather. I want to thank Tina McGowan's for sending this in. So my wife saw it on the way to work. It kind of freaked her out. She said, what in the world are we okay? I said, we're okay. These are called noctilucent clouds. Okay, noctilucent clouds. And basically what makes them different, well, they're clouds up in the mesosphere. They're not even in our atmosphere. They're not in the thermosphere. They're even higher, 50 miles high, because they usually occur as SpaceX launches or rocket launches take place in the atmosphere. So that exhaust and the water vapor condenses into ice crystals, but it's way up, right? You got that rocket launch, and it's above our actual thermosphere, where most of our weather occurs. It's above the stratosphere. So this actually, the rocket launch was right before sunrise, and as a result, we had this beautiful glow of ice crystals before. So I really appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Get out there and enjoy